Yolanda Mulwa is my name, and I have with me the CFO, Jubilee Health Insurance, Mr. Eugene Mutekele. Karibu sana. Welcome, sir, to Spice FM.
Thank you, Yolanda, and thank you for having me.
I called him in a little earlier. I told my producer, Agnes, to bring him in so that he can hear what I sound like in advance, because I can just scare you off. You're like, hey, uku ni wapi mmenileta, and there's no ventilation. Don't worry, we have the AC on, and we have healthy distance. I will not come anywhere close to you. I've been going through akahoma. Unajua ile mbaya ya Nairobi. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Karibu sana.
Santi.
They've been seeing posters, and we like to have meaningful conversations on Spice FM. So this is an absolute honor. I don't know if you want to say something before we get in, or you want us to just in there.
So glad to be here.
Yes. Your first time on Spice FM?
First time on Spice FM, first time in the building.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Welcome.
I always pass it when I'm driving along Mombasa Road, but it's good to finally come inside, and yeah.
Does it look any different from what you imagined in your head?
Apparently not. Maybe the open stations, and when I was walking, I was getting the introductions, and this person does this. This is where the department for marketing and whatnot. I mean, it's generally what I would expect. The working generation is more of Gen Zs nowadays.
You've seen.
And I can even see how they're dressed. So
yeah, my producers. Yeah. I think you've met Eric from the digital desk, and you've met Agnes.
Yes, I have.
Fairly young team, but that's where it ends. The rest of us, we are very well seasoned, I will say, because we wacha ni situ chokoze, but we are age mates with Siti Muga from the Situation Room. We are all 40 plus. Hata mimi nachungulia one to I'm turning 40 next year. Okay. But I'm really glad to have you here. So this is an audiovisual radio station. Let me brag a little before we get into your conversation.
Okay.
Audiovisual simply means we've married terrestrial radio, that is the FM, with television. If TV and radio had a baby, the baby would be Spice FM. So that's the reason why zamani mlikuwa mapenda kututukana. When you would hear us on radio, you'd say, she has a face for radio. When you meet us, and we are more fearfully than wonderfully made, but nowadays they pick us like TV presenters. So all the others, even the gentlemen, look very we are easy on the eyes. Tumewacha kushtua watu kwa radio siku hizi. It's not just your beautiful voice that will get you through the door. You must also just
look the part.
HR will not agree to it, but you can see, look at my producer, you can see how we all look here. Eric, maana tuona hatukai vibaya sana sa, right?
I'm not the one to judge, but
okay, so I want us to get into this conversation about why health insurance should not be anything we're negotiating about in 2025, because I think Kenyans have a problem when the first time you hear your car make a sound, you're like, it'll go away. We went to first, we're a reactionary people. Every time you're putting together a financial plan, you'll put your rent money aside, you'll do your budget, but we always neglect health insurance. Why do you think that is the situation? And what is the danger of that being a reality, of where you don't even consider health insurance? But I'm 39. I am not sick. I have not reached 50.
Yeah, so thanks for that. But just take a step back and think about it. Have you ever come across somebody who does a financial plan thinking they are going to fall sick? No, probably not. And yes, so like you rightfully said, you do a financial plan for your either short-term or long-term goals. You want to pay school fees, you want to buy land, you want to make an investment.
Your holiday,
yes. But the one thing that you will never, ever plan, or it will never get into your head, is saving for health. And I think it's largely because we are a hopeful nation.
Not because we're Africans. It's almost
there's also that. So you always meet people, or we have that mentality where we say, it can never happen to me. We are in WhatsApp groups where we are crowdfunding for people. I mean, they have medical bills and whatnot. But when you are giving out your contribution, it's
painful.
It's theirs. It's painful, but it's also a situation happening to them.
Yeah.
Not happening to me. Like I say, I think we are hopeful we are going to live long lives and nothing is going to derail our financial plans.
Yeah. But you think I think health is a little out of our grip. I think we were caught flat-footed with COVID. The entire universe were caught flat-footed. Something, who would have ever thought in our lifetime we'd ever see a pandemic? Yeah. Has that changed how we view health?
So I'd want to say yes and no.
Explain.
And I'll explain. I'll start with a yes. So several people were affected by COVID in different ways, right? There are those who outrightly fell sick and they had their savings wiped out.
Yes.
There are those people who lost their jobs, right?
Yes.
And maybe they had dependents who needed some sort of medical care or medical help, etc. And then there are those who had COVID and didn't even know they had COVID.
Very true.
Right? So for the ones who are either directly or indirectly affected, we've seen with increased advertisement and communication about health. And for instance, if you lost your job and you're so used to the corporate covers that your employer gives you, we've seen some uptick in health awareness,
yes,
right? And you would have them inquiring on what they can do to cover themselves.
Yes.
The penetration is still a bit low, but we've still seen some of that. For the people who are neither affected or they didn't fall sick, they didn't know anything about, they knew about COVID, but they didn't have the symptoms, I think it's still life as usual for them. I didn't fall sick, I will not fall sick. Another pandemic will come and we'll ride through it,
And there's people who still believe it was
Homa.
No, it wasn't even Homa. It was the government. I sat with someone, a conspiracy theorist, and I was actually terrified that someone of the level of education that this person possesses could think in that manner. How do you help someone like that who feels like a health cover is almost a luxury?
So, the first thing I would do is the awareness we need to create. And you've heard of the term, you are one major hospital bill away from poverty.
From ruin.
Yes, total financial ruin.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. You've been saving to buy a plot of land or actually for retirement even. And then your kid falls sick and they need surgery.
Yeah.
Then you start crowdfunding and you don't get enough, right? Any sane person will have to delve into their savings to get everything they have to take their kids to hospital.
Even sell off whatever you can.
You sell what you have, yes, to raise whatever funds you need. And previously, you would think that was a reserve for the rich. Health cover is a reserve for the rich. But to be honest, what we'd want to say is it's not. There are affordable covers out there, and we actually have affordable covers out there.
We're going to get to, I wanted us to talk about everything else, then we'll get to the very sticky conversation that is money, because I'm sure you have financial options, maybe even lipa pole pole options that someone is not aware of. I want us to talk eligibility. I'm going to play a song, and then when we come back, you're going to tell us who is eligible, because when you talk about health insurance, people tell you, hata sijafika 50, hata sisi hatuna pre-existing condition, sukari. Me, by the way, I'm a vegetarian. Someone told me that the other day when your poster went up. I shared it on my Instagram page. And they said, meat is the problem. If you eat red meat, that is the devil. If I don't, us guys eat for religious reasons. They don't eat meat. Us guys are hardly ever sick, and that is so sad and a very bad mentality to have. So when we come back, you'll tell us about eligibility. I think as long as you have a pulse, you're eligible. But I want to hear from you, and you'll tell us who who should get a health cover. Thank you so much. Right. We have Eugene Mutekele, the CFO for Jubilee Health Insurance, here to talk about all things health and financial planning that must be, you must include the health conversation in your day-to-day financial planning. We have Eugene Mutekele in the studio, the CFO, Jubilee Health Insurance, and we're talking eligibility, Eugene. Who is eligible for to get a health cover? Because we have those conversations. I've told you, my friend told me hajafika 50. Hakulangi nyama ya ng'ombe. You said it is carcinogenic. So then they should not get one. They'll put that money in something else.
Yeah, so anyone can fall sick, you know that. And we do have a bouquet of products that covers anywhere from 18, of course, with your dependents if you have kids, etc. Yes. All the way to 79.80. So it's a senior product that we have, and of course, if you are renewing it, it extends until around 85 years old. Okay,
so for someone who's listening in layman's language, you have tailor-made solutions. So maybe I have a pre-existing condition. Let me use my dad. I hope he's listening. Solomon. Solo. He's 63. He has diabetes, and yes, he's 63 and he has diabetes. There's a cover for him, for instance, with his pre-existing condition and his health and his age, right? You have one for someone like him.
Yes, so we do have one for the elderly, yes. But of course the pre-existing conditions come with certain waiting periods. Could be 1 year, could be 2 years. Yeah.
Someone is asking about that. May I read that for you from X?
Yes, please.
Stephen is asking, what informs the waiting period and why some have longer waiting periods than others?
Yeah, so just like I was saying, it's mostly dependent on your medical condition at the time. I think there are conditions like cancer, which can be up to 2 years waiting period. Yes. And there are others which can be 3 months. It's just the condition that you currently have as pre-existing.
What? Okay, I don't know if you're aware that Kenyans only need a cover when it's an emergency. Have you gotten that conversation, or has someone made a call to you? Have you found someone in distress? Because I know how we think. We are very reactionary, as I said at the start. I go to the hospital, I am told, oh my God, we need to go under a microscope and check whether this thing is, what we don't want, because doctors are not inflammatory. They say, let's go behind, let's take a biopsy, let's find out. That is when I want to look for Agnes. That guest you booked that day called Eugene. Could you get me direct to his office? Because I want to pay today so that tomorrow, should the result come out and it is cancerous, whatever they found, I am covered. Is that how an insurance policy works, essentially?
And unfortunately, that's not how insurance works.
You don't have an emergency insurance.
Remember, what is an insurance? An insurance is almost like a safety net against a future risk. Yes,
like wearing a seatbelt.
It's like wearing a seatbelt.
There's no accidents, but I wear it. Because in the eventuality
you may get into an accident.
You need to repeat that again, because we are not on the same page about that, and I think you are aware of that. That's why you're here.
Yeah, and I'll actually give a very good example. As late as last week, I had a friend who called me, and they were asking for a medical cover for their parent who unfortunately had fallen sick, and they're already in hospital. Right? I'll go back to what I said at the beginning. I don't know whether it's a taboo or we are a hopeful nation where we say it's not going to happen to me until it happens to you.
Things are thick, Eugene. Let's be real. Things are very thick. We are all scrapping by. In fact, you have to work like a mad person almost to just get by. So we understand, or many people are not aware that you do have solutions to the state that we are currently living in.
Yeah.
You have tailor-made health solutions, some that are not, you will not break bank, you also have payment options. I was not aware. He just told me, because I told him, I'm ule madhe wa nini. Naweza kulipa mara 5. Naweza kulipa mara 3.
And my answer was yes.
Yes, I told you that's how I pay for my car insurance, because I must have a comprehensive cover. I feel like what did you call it? Psychological
safety.
Yes, it's psychological safety, that I know should anything happen, I'm sorted. I'm covered. And you said that your health is also as important as your car, if not more important, of course. So tell us about the tailor-made solutions and the lipa pole pole options.
Okay, so it's a tough economy, as you've put it, and we have, as insurance companies, to provide solutions to the citizens, right?
Yes.
I mean, granted, when you're doing a financial plan, you don't think about health. Why? Because previously, you would think it's a reserve for the rich.
Yes.
But now we are telling you health is affordable. But you see, whatever is affordable to you, me, may not be necessarily affordable to you. You may tell me to pay a premium of 6,200 shillings. Probably I may pay it all at once. Somebody else cannot. So we do have options which make it easier for our customers, that enables them to pay in installments, right? So you can pay over 3 months or 4 months. I think currently the maximum is about 4 months. That enables you to unlock and access the benefits of a certain medical cover while you're paying in installments. So it's easy on your pocket.
It is.
Right?
It is. In fact, I hope you came with forms.
Yes, I'll distribute across.
I hope you came with
office. Yeah.
There's a question here before we get back to that. Why does pregnancy require a 1-year waiting period? It's not pre-existing, and can they consider capping at first trimester if they have to be a restriction? If there has to be a restriction, did you understand the question?
Why does pregnancy require a 1-year waiting period?
Yes, and it's not a pre-existing condition.
Not pre-existing, and then
maybe consider capping at first trimester if there has to be a restriction.
Okay, so let me answer it this way. Are you seeking cover when you're already pregnant? That's the other thing, because I've seen that happening. We've
discussed our Kenyan problems. I hope we are not now in denial. The conversation
I've actually seen that happening.
Yes.
Where somebody is coming to get cover when
they are already pregnant. So
right?
Do you turn them away in that eventuality? Do you turn them away, or is there a way that you can assist still?
I mean, you are driving without a safety belt. You are in an accident.
Yes.
The event has occurred. But what I would say is the child can be covered after a 1-month waiting period. Generally.
The child in the stomach, or after I've given birth?
After they are born.
Oh, wow. Right? Okay.
And that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Again, I've been in a situation where you see the medical bill post-pregnancy is actually racking up a lot.
True.
Yeah.
So should the baby come, for instance, you said the child is covered after they are delivered.
After birth, yeah.
Tumemwona ndio mtoto amekuja mgeni wetu. So if the baby needs specialized attention, maybe they need to be in the NICU, the neonatal ICU. Is that part of the cover?
So in most instances, there's a...
Sorry for going granular, because I feel like Stephen is going to ask. Stephen, is someone pregnant?
No, there's usually a 1-month waiting period. 30 days, yeah.
Okay. So, but it might cover things like the jabs, right?
Might.
But
we actually do... Well, I've seen solutions where, mostly the international solutions, where they cover straight from birth.
Wow, that would be good. You need to look into that. Now that you understand the market, you have to do market research, with all due respect, and just the Kenyan way. I just feel like we are such dynamic people.
For Kenyans, we need to embrace the fact that when it comes to health, don't wait for that emergency to happen. Think ahead.
But what are you going to do to ensure that? Because unless you're going door to door, because sometimes I feel like it's not ignorance. People don't have all the facts.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if we have to go door to door, we will go door to door.
Yeah.
We will.
Okay, Anthony had asked, Anthony Madenge, thank you so much, an avid listener of the show. Does Jubilee Insurance health insurance does it cover 50s plus health challenges such as prostate cancer and dialysis, clinical visits as well? And then 2, do you have Jubilee covered hospitals in the Moya area? Because he listens from Moya.
So the first answer is yes, we do cover 50 plus. Of course, for the conditions like prostate cancer, etc., they do have a waiting period.
Yes.
And thanks for listening from where. I'm sure, and I know we do have a couple of hospitals around that area that accept our cards.
Yeah. I don't know if this is going to be too much to ask for your customer care line. Do you have it? We can give it before you leave.
Yeah, I can, but I know. It's a simple one. It's 0709 949 000.
So easy.
It's one of those ones which are easy to master.
Yeah, you can repeat it again, please.
So 0709 949 000.
Very, very, very easy. Very, very, very easy. So you can send in more questions at Spice FMKE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I don't want the questions to come past our 1 o'clock mark. But okay. No was perusing a catalog I got and I was sent for and found it strange that there is such restriction. That is Stephen, about the pregnancy and it having a waiting period.
Okay.
A catalog can't answer questions, so
yeah. So you need, but what I would say is, so Stephen can just send a text health to what's the number, 4064. I'll get it off at just before I leave. Yes,
you'll give it to us as well.
Or just call the line that I've just given.
0709
949 000. And all the questions are going to be answered. Yeah.
Okay. I have with me in studio the CFO Jubilee Health Insurance, Mr. Eugene Mutekele, and we are talking all things health. Do you have a health cover? If you don't, why? Come and ask him the question so we can get that out of the way. And you're just asking me for forms to fill. Linda Luisa is asking you, sir, please let him explain about all waiting periods, sub-limits for chronic conditions, co-pays, and hospital capitation. There's so much confusion about this. So, bite size 111, what do you want to deal with first? Sub-limits? You touched on waiting periods, kidogo?
Yes, so I touched on waiting periods dependent on your medical condition or
many factors.
There are many factors, yes, pre-existing issues, etc. There are certain hospitals where you have copays. So copays is generally where you've gone for medical attention, then insurance covers a portion, you pay a portion. So you'll find for every visit, it's generally 1,000 shillings or 500 shillings. I think copays largely are there to curb things like fraud or abuse, right? So you go to hospital when you are really sick. Yeah, and you also sort of get into some sort of programs that will prevent you from getting sick. We are not saying don't go to hospital, but it's easier when you do preventative care as opposed to
Waiting for the issue.
Yes, waiting for the issue.
But how come some hospitals have copay? Because like we have copay, even here at the Standard Group, there's hospitals that there's copay and there's hospitals that don't have copay. Although the Children's Hospital, I won't say which one, we only have one Children's Hospital, they have a copay.
There's
but of 500
children's
shillings.
Hospital.
No, I mean the Children's Hospital. That one. Mnaijua ile tu ile mzee.
Yeah, wouldn't mention him.
Yes.
But like, I mean, hospitals are equally tiered, right? You have your tier 1 hospital, 2,
understood.
3, etc. So the level of care that you get from a tier 1 hospital is a little bit more expensive than what you'd get in a tier 2 and tier 3.
And a dispensary.
And nobody stops you from going to a dispensary or the other ones. Unfortunately, all of us would want to flock into the tier 1 hospital.
Very true.
You wait for a long time and you end up paying that copay. When, on the other hand, had you gone into that dispensary, you'd still get your medical attention and you'd leave happy.
It's those, you talked about that psychological safety, yes. And I think it has a large part to play with that. So are we going to talk about sublimits for chronic conditions? Or you'll say they'll vary from condition to condition?
They would. They would. You may find you have an inpatient cover of 5 million shillings and then you have a cancer limit of about 1 million. Of course, cancer is a condition that can take up to, it can literally wipe off your cover. So it varies. I may not get into the nitty-gritties of which conditions are.
Because once you go granular, we are going to be here with a fine-tooth comb.
We'll be here until tomorrow morning.
But chronic conditions will definitely have more restrictions.
Yes, they would have more restrictions. And they would more often than not have waiting periods as well.
Okay, hospital capitation. I like what Linda Luisa is saying because these are very touchy issues when it comes to the actual cover. Getting people through the door is normally one thing, but ironing out these smaller, finer print, I feel like that's normally now the bigger issue than even getting the cover itself. Hospital capitations. Let's talk hospital capitations.
Okay, so I would want to understand from which angle she's asking that question, because I would explain what a capitation in this case is. You've bought a cover, I've gotten a third party, and just so that I can manage your condition, how much you pay, etc. We agree with that third party. Fine, to manage all the claims that are going to come through, etc., it's likely going to cost this much, right? And then I engage that third party to help me manage that claim, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of a capitation arrangement. But remember, you bought a policy with me, right? Not
the broker,
or the hospitals or etc.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'd say I'd want to understand the genesis of that question. Is it that they had a bad experience with a hospital?
Yeah, no, she's asking. In fact, Linda Luisa is in the health sector. And the reason why she's asking that is she says there's so much confusion about all these terminologies and issues that we're touching on. Yeah. And these issues need more enlightenment because more enlightenment needs to be done because clients walk into hospitals with cards only to be disappointed by what's covered. She's talking about the finer print. So we have 1 minute to the top of the hour. Mr. Lisamira, I know I'm sitting on your chair. Let him read the news and we'll be back with Mr. CFO. I'll just run through.
Understood the question now.
Okay. So more on our conversation on the other side of the clock. Hata mwezi ngoja mgeni aende. We are in there. So I have the honor of hosting Eugene Mutekela, who is the CFO, Jubilee Health Insurance. And the questions are getting harder by the minute. And Hakil Harun is asking on Facebook, please ask our guest why when it comes to settling claims, they don't settle fully. you'll be told to engage SHIF or SHA to cover the rest.
So we settle our claims. That's where I'll start the answer.
Yes.
We do settle our claims. But just like NHIF, which used to give rebates, hospital rebates and whatnot.
Yes.
SHA also does the same. It covers up to certain limits.
Yes.
Then we cover the rest. And what I'd want to say is, for as long as a claim is legitimate, right, and it's covered within
your policy,
your benefits and policy, we will settle it.
Yeah, because I think we have not a communication issues sometimes.
Somewhere.
Yeah, because sometimes someone will tell you, my cousin said. Someone will tell you, my cousin said. Someone will tell you, I will speak about your insurance because I have used your insurance. I've had a Jubilee cover, and you do settle fully. And when we're having a conversation about insurance, he can only speak for the insurance company he works for. Right? Yeah. You can only speak about Jubilee. You can't go outside your jurisdiction, correct?
Yeah, I may not know what they do.
Yeah, you can't. And say all insurances in the country cover. No, you can only speak about where you work. Yeah, even I can speak about another media house. And when you're talking about NHIF and SSF, even they have their limits. Kama Kitanda, if they tell you they'll give you 3,000 bob for a day. When I was giving birth, I wanted a private room. I wanted a different wing where I had a little privacy. So they gave me the 3,000. Now mimi you now you are 30, 50, 100. Yeah. So it works the same with insurances.
The same,
I assume.
Yeah.
So now we go back to the politics, right? And it wasn't the politics, it was the finer details.
There was a question. I think it's Louise.
Yes. Linda Louisa had asked for you to shed more light on sub-limits for chronic conditions, co-pays, and I think you had touched on everything except hospital capitation.
Yeah, so that's what I was speaking on the last time before 1 o'clock hit. But I will summarize everything in one.
Yeah.
And that confusion is largely because, one, they probably don't know where to go for the answer, or they have a brochure that's 20 pages long, so
and
it has a lot of...
We read sign here, or we read sign...
We only read sign here, and so there's an expectation gap. I expect I'll be covered fully on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
And then when you're actually claiming is when you're told, open page 17 of your policy, and then you're told there's a sub-limit.
Should we have started the conversation with, you need to read every page and clause of your policy?
So increasingly, we are reducing the sizes of the policy documents. I think it's probably going to be 3 pages long.
Please. Because sometimes I'm like, is it intentional that you want me to sign almost it's true.
There are so many laws that have come out right now. There's a GDPR thing. I mean, there are so many things that need to be covered out there that sort of find their way into a policy document that...
It's a lot of jargon. It's not layman's even language. So how you're saying you're going to now...
So increasingly, the policy documents are becoming thinner and thinner. And even as you buy insurance, if you are unsure about anything, please call. Please call. The first instinct or the first expectation is you're fully covered. 10 million, fully covered, I'm good. Until something happens and then you realize there's a sub-limit. And then you're told, refer back to this. So please call and ask all those questions.
Well, and then many of us also buy from brokers. We don't buy directly from you. So there's that buffer, or I don't know if it's a disconnect in communication. Because sometimes maybe... I'm not saying that it is the case, but I'm like, anything can happen, sir. Naeza kuwa tu naongelesha mtu Eugene, and then they're looking at, targets. They've been given Q2. You must have X amount of million shillings. So have you had an issue where something was lost in translation and maybe you feel you are misrepresented as an insurance company by a third party?
I mean, those things happen all the time. And
ati walisema.
They happen all the time. So you have your customer care lines, they're ringing off the hook.
Yeah.
They happen all the time. we have agents who distribute our products. We really educate them on what the product is about and what they need to tell the client. I mean, whatever is in that brochure, and we have flyers as well. So, a flyer is just a one-pager that captures the bare minimum.
True.
Whatever is in that flyer may not answer all the questions you have. Ask.
It is our business to know.
Well, we'll try steer you in the right direction, but just ask what you are not sure of. So the normal things like this as a sub-limit, it covers from, say, 18 to 60 years. We'll tell you those things. If you have a pre-existing condition, there's a waiting period. So they're the bare minimum we'll need to tell you.
Yeah.
There are some which you may just need to ask. Yeah.
And even conversations like what we've had today, like don't get pregnant and then go and get now the cover when the baby is already in the stomach.
Yes. Don't wait for the emergency. Plan
ahead.
Plan for it, yeah.
Yeah, and you have told us that you're well aware of the financial times that we're currently living in, and you're very flexible with the payment methods, you've said, and you also have different options, different cut your coat, they say?
Yeah. A bouquet of products.
To suit everyone's needs.
To suit everyone's needs.
Okay, I love that. And you told us anybody is eligible from birth.
Anybody can fall sick. So the senior cover is generally capped at 79 years.
79.
Yes.
Anything
but
after?
if you are existing, then it extends to around 85 years old.
Now when we reach those ages, we'll come and start complaining. So what does it then switch to?
Past 80. Because
I'm sure there must be something tailor-made for that demographic, that plus. Wako wengi. We're Africans, we live very long.
Probably may not get into it because I'm not sure the sort of questions that may come.
Yes.
But somebody may want to consider post-retirement medical cover. So it's just a savings where you start right now.
I like that.
And it will cover you for
post-retirement medical cover. And you said we don't text this number. It's better to have conversations. You feel
a conversation
more wholesome.
Is more, it's more personal. And, you may... But even if you text us, we'll give you a call back.
I've seen, by the way, your digital team today, I hope when you're going to discuss in the office the things that are working, I hope that you're going to have that conversation about your digital team. They're very swift. Yeah. Every single question that any of our listeners has asked on X, at least I've seen, has been answered in a matter of seconds. So I'm hoping, si kwa sababu bwana CEO amekaa kwa studio, that is the norm at Jubilee Health.
It is the norm.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I don't know if there's anything else that we might have not touched on that you want to touch on. And I'll let you. Yeah.
I mean, I'll just reiterate, when you are doing your monthly plan, I'm going to pay, I need to save for school fees, I need to save for rent. Please add a line there, medical health insurance, and you will not regret it. You won't.
That is true. Tuache kuwa kwa mawatts. You are in 17 WhatsApp groups,
70,
and
groups. 10
is a medical. We are fundraising for our sick loved ones and colleagues, and it's sad.
It actually is.
It is sad. It is sad. Thank you so much, Eugene Mutekele, CFO, Jubilee Health Insurance. What an honor. A very nice conversation. I feel like you can't have this conversation in a day. I absolutely feel so. And I know we feel cheated on time, but I'll do you a solid. Whatever questions you may have that you still have that are burning, you can DM us, and Agnes and I will make sure they find their way to at least your customer care team, and we'll forward them to your team to help us with those, right? And you can give us the number again, the 0709.
Yes, so the number is 0709 949 000. Or you can text 40643, just SMS health to 40643. Somebody will give you a call back.
I love it. Can you imagine that simple? You see, it's not as weird as it feels.
Nothing complicated.
Nothing complicated. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
And I hope the next time we're going to have a conversation about now the other issue, and which is planning for your death. I'm serious. White people do. They buy their plans for themselves when they're still alive, but it's such a taboo. It's
a taboo here. So.
It even makes the health conversation look like kindergarten, child's play. But I hope one day you can send someone to come and have a conversation about that on Spice FM.
Yeah.
Do have a lovely day, and I hope we're going to see you again.
Thank you, and again, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. It's been an honor.